Alright y'all, welcome back to the channel and to another turkey pattern test today. It's been a little while since we've done a real deal turkey pattern test like we did back in the spring. And I've been wanting to sprinkle some of these in even though it is not turkey season right at the moment. And first up is one that was requested by a few people a little while back when we tested some of this ammunition. So today we're going to bring out some of these guys again, the Rogue ammunition 410 shells. These are a 3-inch 27/32 ounce of number 9s, going 1100 feet per second, so they say. But I do have the chronograph out here today, and we're going to run our shot over the chronograph, so we will see if that 1100 feet per second is pretty accurate or not. But as for what setup we're going to be running today, I decided to bring back out the Mossberg 500 410 turkey again, but this time I decided to bring out a little bit different choke for it. We've tested the stock 380 extra full that the gun came with, and these Rogue shells did good in that. And we tested a Carlson's heavyweight TSS 385 choke, and they did even better in that choke. So I was curious, along with a few other people, do these shells like the little bit more open constriction chokes? So with that being said, I decided to bring back out this little choke. Might be hard for you guys to see in this glare, but that is a Winchester full choke for this gun. It's a 391 constriction is what I measured it out to be. So it's right in that 390 constriction range, which I know that chokes like the Indian Creek 390 for these guns does shoot very well from what I've seen. And we have seen some pretty intriguing performances out of this 391 full choke so far, especially with the Herder shells that we tested a long time ago out of this setup. I'll leave a card above if you haven't seen those, but they performed really pretty well out of this. It wasn't necessarily a super hot core, but it was a beautifully even pattern. But either way, as per usual, I've got the turkey target set up over here. It's going to be a 40-yard shot, and I've got the chronograph set up this time as well. So we'll be able to get our speeds and see how accurate the box velocity is. So with that being said, I'll go over here and get you guys set up with a view of the target. I'll take the shot. We'll come back, we'll take a quick look at what our chronograph velocity was, and then we'll go over how our shot performed down there on the paper. So let's go over here and shoot it and see what it can do. Alright, that shot gave us 1156 feet per second. The box called for 1100, so we're definitely a little bit above what the box called for sure. Alright, so this is what we got out of those Rogue 27/32 ounce of 9s through that Winchester 391 constriction full choke. Now immediately, we don't have a super hot core necessarily, but we do see a much more, I'm going to say even spread, even though we do see a couple of these little voids and gaps in here. There's nothing major, and definitely nothing that a turkey's going to walk through, but I think that is pretty much the perfect youth pattern, or if you like to hunt your birds in close where you might want a little bit more leeway, I think something like this full choke would give you what you want. And obviously it can absolutely take a bird out to 40 yards. But I think where this would shine is definitely a youth hunter. It gives them a little bit more leeway than some of these really tight chokes do. Now with that being said, we really don't see a ton of flyers necessarily. Maybe one down here, but overall, most of your pattern is right there within, say, that about 30-inch circle or so. Probably a little bit less, like 25-inch circle or so, but either way, there's 4.5 or so in the brain there, and 2 or 3 more in the neck area. He's absolutely gone at 40 yards, but we definitely saw these loads open up a little bit more. And if you like that little bit tighter core, a little bit hotter core, a little bit tighter overall pattern, I definitely think so far that 385 constriction range has shown the best results with these Rogue shells. But definitely not a bad pattern whatsoever. Now as for our wad here, this is what we got out of that Rogue shell. We do have one pellet down in the bottom there, which I don't really like to see. I like all of my pellets out of the wad. But this is something that we've seen in a couple of these 410 shells, is that these pellets get jammed down in the bottom of that wad. But this is definitely not as bad as some of the other ones we've seen. As for the wad in whole, it flayed open really quite far compared to what some of these other wads do. But other than that, there's no tears or rips or shreds or anything like that. Nothing really special to note about it, except for that one pellet that's stuck in the bottom down there. Well, with that being said, what do y'all think about it? I definitely don't think it's a bad pattern at all. It'll absolutely take your bird out to 40 yards, but it's definitely a little bit more open than that 385 was. There's no question there. But I really think a pattern like that would shine in really close ranges, or for a youth hunter especially. It gives them that little bit more wiggle room, so if they're not right on the gun perfectly or anything like that, they can still get that turkey all the way out to 40. But what do you guys think about it? Is that a little bit too open for what you like, or do you like having that little bit more leeway like that? And leave a comment and let me know if that's a shell and choke combination that you would use. But as for the shells, now that I've got the chronograph out here for these turkey pattern tests, we got more than the advertised velocity, which was interesting because a lot of times these ammunition companies print a number on the box that normal people like us will probably never see. So it's definitely good that the number they got on the box is at least what we saw out here today. So I'm going to get back to filming a couple more tests while I'm out here today. So I'll see y'all in the next one.